Hey, I'm Kai, and despite having over 150 videos on this channel demoing various pieces of gear, there are some major things that I've never tried. I've never owned the TS808 Tube Screamer, the Blues Driver, a real big Muff, or a Rat, so I put out some polls recently asking what everyone wanted to see, and the Rat came out on top pretty much every single time, and that's what I'm going to be demoing today. I've tried my fair share of Rat-derived circuits, things like the Aeris Effects Merciless Drive, the Demiurge Doomy, the Dolamo Vintage Dist, as well as a slew of different Rat models in digital modelers. So in a bid to get a better frame of reference and sort of generally know what to expect of a real Rat, I figured it would be best to demo this one and just see what everyone loves about it. I purchased this pedal from Gear for Music, so this video is not sponsored in any way. However, I do have affiliate links in the description if you'd like to get one of these for yourself. Normally in a pedal demo I'd want to do a sort of overview before I get into it, but since the Rat is so iconic, there are thousands of videos out there already covering the history, the users, and the use cases. All you need to know for this demo is that this is the current production Pro Co RAT2, and there are 3 knobs: filter, gain, and level. For the rig today, I've got my PRS S2 Evertune with the Seymour Duncan Pegasus and Sentient pickup set. I'm running out from there into the Pro Co RAT, into my pedal board, then into the EVH 5153 where I'm starting on the clean channel, then out into my DAW where I'm loading up the ML Sound Lab Mars TV Mix Steep. I'll engage the Rat with everything at noon and then I'll get into tweaking it later on. So instantly I'm noticing with the knobs at noon, we've got barely any output level and insane amounts of distortion. I'll first sweep through the volume knob just to find where the point of unity is with the other 2 knobs at noon. The output level of this pedal does seem pretty low overall. I've got the volume up at 3 o'clock, which is almost all the way up, and this is unity. Part of the charm of the Rat pedal that I've heard from so many people is that it's able to do everything across the whole range of gain, from boost to overdrive to distortion to fuzz to completely blown out splatty fuzz. I'm going to sweep through the distortion knob with the filter up at noon and just see what kind of range I can get out of this. One thing that I noticed with the Rat pedal that I've actually criticised cheap clones over is that all of the distortion happens in the first sort of 10% of the knob. Everything from halfway up is just blown out, but you really get that full sweep of boost, overdrive, distortion and fuzz in that first little section. I'll dial the distortion back to a rocky sort of crunch and we'll sweep through the filter knob. The filter knob works backwards to how you'd expect a tone knob to work, so all the way off is no filtering whatsoever and all the way up is maximum filtering. I can definitely see the charm of the stock Rat so far. The filter has a tendency to go super bright, the distortion has a tendency to go super blown out, but all those sweet spots in between are lovely. Before I turn the gain up on the amplifier, I want to dial in a 90s grunge rock kind of thing. So staying on the clean channel of the amplifier, I'm going to push the gain up into that sort of pushed clean territory. We'll hear that one dry first, and then I'm going to dial in a couple of tones for it. Keeping the gain nice and low on the Rat should get the tone pretty crunchy sounding. We can use the filter knob to control how bright it is. Now this low gain crunchy sort of amp tone is where I like to find myself playing through most fuzz pedals, so we'll turn the Rat up to get a nice thick doomy sludge kind of thing. I do think it handled it really well, and I can understand why the Rat has such a cult following in the Doom circles. However, I did notice that it started to get pretty wompy under the hand. I can feel a lot of those low notes sort of just flubbing out a bit. I might pull the distortion back, turn the filter up a bit, and see if we can get a brighter kind of modern Doom thing going. That's definitely more my speed, I think. Another thing that the Rat pedal is known for is its ability to stack seamlessly with a lot of other drive pedals. I'll run it back right to that clean tone we started with, so that I've got a little bit more room for stacking it with gain pedals especially. So now I've got the clean tone set up with the Earthquaker device's plumes after the Rat. Let's dial in the Rat and see what works. That one's working really nicely for me. I'd say it's not too dissimilar from the tones that I had running the Rat on its own, however it's nice to have the two different gain stages separate so that you can stack them if you want to. The next stacking thing I want to try is with the Holy Island Audio Tides. This is one of my favourite pedals of all time. It's a dirty reverb with an overdrive after the reverb signal. I'm running the Rat into the front end of that. Something that I am pretty curious about is how the Rat pedal stacks up against the HX1. Now the HX1, in case you're not aware, is Line 6's single effect version of the Line 6 Helix. I've got the Ratatouille model loaded up on the HX1, so I'll try and do a sort of A-B comparison on the fly with this. I'll start with the Rat and then we'll play through the HX1. Now the HX1. They're fairly similar as is, and you could probably dial them in to be even closer. However, this was just a very rough and ready sort of comparison with both units on similar settings. With the gain set fairly low on both of these, I should be able to get a nice stacked thing going. So this is what it sounds like when the Rat pedal is running into the HX1's Rat. Probably got a little bit too brittle and bright there at the end, but ultimately that's something you could probably dial out fairly easily with the filter control. I think after trying it out, it's very clear why people love this pedal. Not only are they cheap, built like an absolute tank, and readily available in just about every shop you can go to, they also sound fantastic. This pedal pretty much hits exactly the tone I was expecting it to hit, and I think that's why people really enjoy it. You know what you're getting. That said, there are certainly some drawbacks to the unit, and I can see why people like to mod them. The output level isn't really where I'd like it to be. I'd like a lot more output so that I could really drive the amp if I wanted to. The distortion knob, as I mentioned, is pretty finicky. You get most of that range of distortion in that first tiny little turn of the knob, and then everything from there is blown out. I'd like to see this one sort of brought back so that it's a more gentle sweep all the way up from low gain to high gain. Now, both of these things are possible with mods, but I don't think I'm going to be modding this one just yet. The filter knob is also super shrill, bright, and harsh at certain settings, and this is again something that you can fix with mods, but I'm leaving this one totally stock as my reference point. I may buy a second one just to add these sort of mods to it and see what kind of improvements can be made on this circuit. I also think this really leans more towards being a fuzz than a distortion pedal. You can definitely get some distortion tones out of it, but most of the wheelhouse of this pedal is in that big fuzzy sound. I think this one was like £65 used, so it's a very easy one to recommend if you're after one. That is everything I've got for this video though, so thank you ever so much for sticking around to the end. I do really appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, be sure to check out the affiliate link in the description box down below where you can purchase this pedal for yourself. Also, while you're down there, if you could drop me a like, a comment, a subscribe, all that good stuff goes a long way towards helping me out. Until next time though, I've been Kai.